This is Denise Richards from Valentine, Scary Movie 3, and Wild Things, and I just wanted to congratulate you on your recent successes. And I know how much you love my movie Valentine, so always remember, don't go out there.
He loves me.
Spend this Valentine's Day
He loves me not.
with someone you love,
He loves me.
someone you trust,
He loves me not.
and someone you know
He loves me.
won't try to kill you.
Will you dance with me? Dance with me? Dance with me?
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners for all the support. We really appreciate it. And we're doing a quick bonus holiday film review for you guys. This is a fun one. But before we jump into that, we're just going to, knock the business out of the way. I just want to give a shout out to our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for Don't Go Out There on those platforms, and you'll find Brian's awesome artwork he's done for us. Give us a like or a follow on there, and go to our website, don'tgoouthere.com, where you can find our social medias or any of our episodes, our interviews, our celebrity shout outs, our store. Just check out our website. It's really cool, and you can find everything you need about this podcast on there. And I'm going to throw it over real quick to Mike, and he's going to announce something else that's cool on our website. Go ahead, Mike.
Absolutely. So we get all the time, since we don't do a Patreon, how can you guys support the show? How can you guys support these four handsome sons of bitches? Well, this is it. We partnered with Loot Crate, a subscription box service where if you sign up on any of their boxes, whether it be the Fright Box or the Pop Culture Box or whatever, use code BF15. That's B as in Brian, super producer, F as in Franklin, Money Franklin, and 15 is in the amount of dollars I have in my back pocket right now.
Do what?
Hey, I'm just saying. But that code will get you 15% off. Just go to our website or lootcrate.com. Make sure you get that code in so it shows your credit. We're also giving away a free personalized picture and sticker with our show logo. Just DM us proof you signed up. Shout out to Joe Larson and Shan for signing up. BF15. That's the code. Go use our code. And thank you, Loot Crate.
I can't believe Mike just lied on the way, saying he only had $15. But it's okay.
That's
Who the hell is
true,
Money
brother.
Franklin? Money Franklin must be the rich girl that I'm gonna marry.
Hey, hand on that Bible from Frailty. I swear to God, that's only 15.
Wow.
Well, as you all of our listeners come to know, around the holidays, we like to do some bonuses for you guys. And Brian suggested 2001's Valentine. Brian, do you want to give your quick general overview?
Yeah, first off, I think that this is the eighth, if I counted correctly, the eighth movie that we have done from my senior year in 2001. So it sounds like a broken record, I know, when I'm like, oh, I went to the theater and saw this. But, it was my senior year. What else are you going to do?
You're nostalgic.
So I've actually only seen this one other time, and that was in the theater. I actually distinctly remember having to I was 17 my senior year, and the girl I was dating was 16, so we actually had to sneak into this movie, I remember. I don't remember what movie we bought tickets from, but that's not important. But anyway, it's not bad. I mean, I didn't hate it. I also didn't love it this go around. The director, Jamie Blanks, actually did Urban Legend before this, and I actually rewatched that one recently, and I know we're not reviewing that, but I didn't really think that one really held up a whole lot, and I kind of think that this one's kind of the same. It drug on too long in some places, and I put it in the same boat, honestly, as Urban Legend now. Although I may actually enjoy this one a little bit more. Now, a lot of the characters are one-dimensional. The ending of this I think is amazing, but we'll get into that. But all in all, it's a decent little late '90s, early 2000s slasher that you can pop in and enjoy every now and then. You know what you're going to get with it, and if you can definitely sit down and have a decent time watching it, I think.
All right, I'll go next. I think I echo pretty much everything Brian just said, except I like Urban Legend more. I rewatched that in the past couple months. I still enjoy Urban Legend, and we're only bringing that up because the director was the director of both of those movies.
Right.
Like Brian said, I don't dislike I don't love this movie by any means, but I don't hate it or dislike it. I mean, if you watch a movie called Valentine, I think you know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
It's it's not a Scream ripoff, but it's a Scream inspired whodunit. And if you like whodunits, I think you'll like this. It's got a likable cast. I think the cherub mask is kind of creepy, honestly. Not perfect, but it's not terrible. It's a fun watch. Dustin, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. So I had never seen this movie until we watched it for this, and I mentioned it to you guys before when this was decided on. Hey, we're doing Valentine. I thought it was My Bloody Valentine, and I started watching it, and then Nico texted into our group chat. Actually, it wasn't Nico; it was someone else. Completely, I'm not going to incriminate anyone. Someone mysteriously texted into our group text and said, "Denise Richards looking fine as hell in this movie." And as I'm watching My Bloody Valentine, I'm like, "What the fuck is going on? Where is she in this movie?" And that's when I realized. But that being said, I ended up watching the right one, and man, yeah, there is some talent in this one. Now, as far as the acting abilities, there's some of that talent too. Good cast. It's a fun little watch, like you said. It is a little bit cheesy. Like it is one of those cheesy slasher films, in my opinion. And there are some major nitpicks I have as far as. Oh, we'll get to it in the scene by scene. Not a perfect movie. Not a terrible movie. It's one of those that, yeah, I didn't mind watching. I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah, so right off the bat, a big disagreement that me and Nico have is the mask. But
Hey, time out, Mike. Time out. Have you seen this before today?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
God damn! Of course you have. All right, keep going.
Why?
Because you've seen everything. We're just trying to pick stuff you've never seen, but you always have watched it. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. I was just curious.
Hey, actually, this is only the second time, so it was damn close. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm kind of torn on this movie because I feel like it's a fun watch. You guys mentioned it. It is a fun little watch. It's a short watch, so I don't mind it. It's good background horror, as I call some movies, and that's not a bad thing. It's not something I have to pay super close attention to, especially once you watch it once. You don't have to pay attention to it super close the next time you watch it. Good cast. I think, like Dustin mentioned, there's some talent that can all call me sometime. I'm just going to lump it all in now.
Hey-o.
I mean, not everyone, but, pretty much everyone. But, a lot of familiar faces in this movie from that era, and I think that helps. But there's some bad in this movie. Like I kind of feel like this is a Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream had like a love child, and that's what the fuck we have here. Even Halloween.
That would be a pretty amazing movie. All three of those. Jesus, that's a great looking baby.
Well, this is the
I threw you off there.
Like when you get like a good looking son, a good looking daughter, and the other one's not blessed in the looks department, fell down the oak tree and hit every branch on the way down. That's kind of this movie. Like there's some good. Don't get me wrong.
This is the smoke during pregnancy, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, had a little too much caffeine in the mornings. The brain activity doesn't quite flow the same as the other kid. That's fine. Still going to community college, not a big deal. So here's the deal. No, dang it. All right, no, for real though. I think it's a fun watch, and it's almost kind of like Nico said. It's a movie called Valentine. You know what you're getting, so I wasn't taking it super serious. And I don't think this cast was either because there's talent here, but there's some bad acting in this movie to me. Just very stock character acting, very one-dimensional characters, which again, I know what I'm in for, but we're supposed to pick the movie apart, so I have no choice. But there is some things I like. The mask is definitely not one of them. I will wait a little bit to shit on it completely. And but you know, I don't. And by the way, before we even get there, I don't know who has a Valentine's Day party like that, but I've never been invited. I'd like to be. But again, cool concept.
Dustin.
Cool concept for a movie, though. I think the idea is good, and I think they did a lot of good with the fact that it's based around Valentine's Day. There's a lot of Valentine, Cupid-inspired kills that I think are pretty good. Now, I had a problem with the kills. Might not be all their fault, but that's another story. But again, not a bad movie, but I feel like even as short as the runtime is, sometimes it can feel a little longer than it needs to be. And so that's kind of a problem for me.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think Denise Richards is a good actress, but I think she was kind of just half-assing it a little bit in some of it. Personally, anybody got any more opening thoughts before we jump into the scene by scene?
No,
Captain Hagel, I love you. That's
I also love you. I hear you're awful to work with, but if you come on our show, we will treat you like royalty. I swear to God.
dude. Pick another one. I just said her. Come on. All
I'm
right,
trying
Wendy
to get her as a
Peppercorn.
guest on
Wendy
the
Peppercorn.
show. Okay, fair enough.
And
That
according to
is
IMDb,
her.
fun fact, she doesn't even claim this movie anymore.
Yeah,
Yep.
I put that down. Yeah, I wrote
I
that
have it
down.
as well.
Well, listen, we're not going to get into her tumultuous time in Hollywood, but probably not. You know how we have fun working on this show? You probably have about the opposite working with her. Okay, let's go.
I would work with her anytime.
Let's jump into scene by scene before we get canceled. Film starts with opening credits in a yearbook with red writing like "I love you, I hate you," and we see young Jeremy shooting his shot to get a girl to dance with him at a dance, but constant rejection. Kate gives him a maybe later, so that gives him a little bit of hope. Chubby girl Dorothy and him go under the bleachers to make out. Then some bullies catch them, and she accuses him of attacking her. The bullies pour punch all over him, Carrie style. His nose bleeds, and they rip his clothes off. They then proceed to stomp him and kick him. Then we get a title card. 13 years later, we meet Shelley, who is on a date with a guy named Jason. He thinks he's hot stuff, as Shelley writes, "Help me," in her food. She asks for the check and says she has finals to get up out of this date. Jason is shocked by the price, and she gets some money out. She says no to his kiss and tells him to get psychiatric help and walks off. And then Jason then flirts with another woman at the bar. Shelley gets to the morgue, or the university, whatever, and chats with Chad, the dead body. She then hears a loud noise and leaves the body to investigate. She goes into the locker room and is jump scared by just another student, I guess. He wishes her good luck and leaves. Shelley finds a Valentine's card with her name on it, and inside it looks evil like, and she's getting her throat slit. Shelley goes back to the corpse, and as she goes to cut its abdomen, but like the stomach breathes, and she backs away in fear. She sees the corpse has been put in the closet, and the other body is gone now. Shelley grabs a scalpel as a weapon and wanders the lab. The door is locked and she can't leave. She turns away and hears a door open. She goes to walk out the door, but is grabbed by the masked killer. She gets away and into the hall and runs away into a room full of body bags with no escape. The masked killer enters the room, and the killer checks each bag with knife stabs. The killer eventually finds her in a body bag and holds her head down and slits her throat, killing her. We see the masked killer's nose bleed, and it leaves the room after zipping the bag back up, letting her blood drain. All right, that's the two opening scenes I got, Brian. What did you think of the opening?
So I like the credits flashback scene, but in a lot of the same fashion, Final Destination did. If you paid attention to, as Jeremy, who by the way looked like a young Dwight Schrute to me, kind of, is as he's asking each girl to dance, like, which by the way, that girl that they got to play a young Denise Richards, her name is Chelsea Bugart. Holy shit, she is a splitting image of her. Like, that's perfect casting. But anyway, if you pay attention as he's asking the girls,
absolutely,
yeah, right. But as he's asking the girls, like, the way that they reject him is how they end up dying. Like, for example, like Paige saying, "I'd rather be boiled alive," and she's later thrown in a hot tub and electrocuted. So I thought that was a little cool tidbit for like a second rewatch too. And I know the whole vengeful mass revenge plot by the killer kind of thing is definitely a trope of some of these people. Some of these people like to call them millennium slashers, but this is it started more with Scream, like you kind of said earlier. And I think as far as it being a trope of this period of horror films, and I agree, there's definitely like a formula to these period films. So I think you either really like all of these or you really hate all of these. Kind of like I mean, Scream. I know Still Has Summer, Urban Legend. This. I mean, we can go kind of on and on with all the whole like '96 to early 2000s. So if you're growing up watching them and stuff, I think maybe at this point it was probably a little played out. But going back and watching it like we're doing, in retrospect, I don't think it hurts it very much. Um, we kind of talked a little bit about Katherine Heigl. She really wasn't mainstream or anything until she kind of hit Grey's Anatomy, which was like 4 years after this. So, and like Nico said, actually, she disowns the films and hates it, which, okay, well, we don't hate you in this film, Catherine. In fact, like to me, this opening scene is one of the, if not best scenes in the movie. If you kind of get past the, what the fuck are you doing alone in like a lab morgue classroom hybrid thing and you aren't packing or anything. It's just this scene has a lot of tension. And, we know since Scream, the opening has to be up to par in these slashers. And I think that this one is. I think Heigl does a great job here. I mean, the decision to hide in the freezer wasn't smart. I mean, I understand you basically ran yourself in a corner, but at that point, it's probably fight, not really, hide amongst the bodies. But, the death was disappointing. And, Mike touched on that. It's I love a good Meyer style throat slash, but in Banks' defense, it wasn't his fault apparently. Apparently Village Roadshow and Warner Brothers, and not the MPAA actually. But either way, he was required to cut a lot of these deaths, even after the MPAA gave it an R rating, because of it worrying execs that it was like too close to the Columbine shooting. Which, I mean, look, I understand that if it was like some sort of mass shooting scene or anything like that, I totally get it. And maybe I'm being insensitive, but I don't really understand 2 years later, like who you're going to offend by putting a bloody horror or a bloody murder, like in a horror movie. Cause the people who paid money to come and sit down and watch it, like that was their choice. Like that's what they expect to see. So I don't know. I don't really, either way, I guess it was cut. But last, let me say this because I completely agree with Nico. The mask, I really like it a lot. Like I think obviously having a really cool mask and a slasher is like basically half the battle. But Jamie Banks is on record as saying like his inspiration was a book famed painter, but he's also on record as being a huge Halloween fan. And I honestly I can't imagine that this wasn't inspired in some way by Michael Myers' look because it's kind of got a lot of the same type features, and I really like it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I definitely think that our killer here is very Michael Myers esque. Way he walks, way the outfit, even all the way down to having a mask. So again, I'll touch on the mask in a scene later because it's not the worst mask of all time, but there's a scene later in this movie that I'm like, if that mask were just a little bit better, I would be all in. But anyway, okay, I like this flashback stuff. And you touched on it about the trope of the revenge killer, and look, this movie takes place pretty shortly after Columbine, and I think some of the kills got cut because the plot is kind of, it's not similar, but it is. It's someone who was bullied in school and decides to kind of take revenge on that, and so that's kind of maybe why some of that got cut down as much as it did, is what I'm thinking. But again, I think it's a good way to set up the later stuff. You mentioned it, Brian, that they die how they how they mentioned, and I think that's why Kate got saved. Obviously, she was the only one that was like maybe later, and like so that was like a really nice touch on a rewatch that I noticed as well. I love this scene with Katherine Heigl though. I think, look, as much crap as I gave her in the open, she's great here. She's look, she might be the best This is the best acting job in the movie to me, is her. She plays this character very, very well. Now again, why the fuck are you alone in that room anyway? I don't know. But also, if you're the killer, why the fuck are you gonna lay down on that table minutes away from being cut open? That makes zero fucking sense to me. It's a nitpick. I'm willing to forgive it because we're watching a slasher, trying to block that out. But I cannot forgive the dumbass logic right there. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But
No, I'm with you
again,
because
still
like
cool.
how they get undressed that fast and then dressed again that
Yeah,
fast.
it's
I'm totally with you on that part.
it's not great. It's not great, but there's a couple times in this movie where you have to kind of suspend your disbelief, and I'm okay with it because this scene is really good. This is a good tension-filled scene. I think um, I I don't mind the kill here. I like a throat slash. Obviously, it would have been better to see a little bit more because obviously this is 2001, and by this point we've seen everything. So it would have been a better. It could have been a better kill, but I don't mind it, and I think. Um, it's the only one of the kills really to me that isn't well it's not super creative. There's another kill later that makes zero sense, but outside of that most of these kills are pretty creative, I think, and pretty good.
Yeah.
But this one obviously not my favorite. No, not my favorite, but again, i I don't mind them hiding in the body bag. Like I don't mind anything. I thought that was very good as far as tension, suspense, build up, and I honestly, the first time I watched it, I wasn't expecting Katherine Heigl to die. I guess I should have because this is right after Scream, and you got to have someone die in the opening scene like Scream, and I guess that's kind of where they were going with that. But I do think it's just that era of horror. It's just what it was. I think this is a good opening scene, though. It's probably one of maybe my second favorite set of scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree. The opening scenes are probably my favorite scenes as well, other than the ending.
Right.
Yeah, the kids walking around the dance and shoot or shoot. This guy is a textbook definition of letting them shots ring off. Kobe didn't score 81 by holding on to the ball. You got to let them shots go. But this kid has a very funny definition of dancing, though. Like, you want to dance, you want to dance, you want to dance. But what he meant was you want to swap spit underneath the bleachers. That was funny. And where the fuck are the chaperones? This kid got the shit kicked out of him and undressed by these bullies, and there's not a chaperone in sight. So, if anything, he should have grown up and killed the people that are supposed to be watching him. Anyway.
Well, in his defense, too, they should have been making out in bleachers with like no cover. Like, yeah, everybody can see your ass under there. Come on.
Yeah, but man, come on,
But you're
man.
right. Shooters,
You that young?
You're right.
You that young and horny? Come on, you're gonna make out wherever you can. Yeah. So then she goes on the date with Jason, and my God, what a creepy pervert. And I thought it was funny though. After he's like, "Yeah, we're splitting this bill," he's like, "What? No kiss?" Like, I was like, "I feel you, dog. Hell yeah, toxic king. You don't pay for shit, and you expect a kiss. I like it."
You should have just let the Spanish in his teeth for it. Fuck it.
Yeah, right. It is funny though that Shelley said, "I'm not a doctor yet," but then she went on to be Izzy on Grey's Anatomy, like Katherine Heigl. Time is a flat circle, all that stuff. Anyway, this date is a date so bad that it just made her want to go cut up some dead bodies. I thought that was funny too. She left there and just went straight to cadavers. Then the stupid jump scare. I was annoyed when she's walking trying to figure out who it was, and it's just the innocent bystander who just happened to be in the building coming around the corner. That pissed me off, actually. Then she gets grabbed from behind, she stabs dude in the leg, and then he just walks it off like he didn't even limp. You want to talk about Tucker and Dale? I think he's gonna walk it off. This guy didn't even limp, and he got stabbed in the leg. But I ain't gonna lie, the set of scenes is really good, but I kind of started to hate this movie already because how are they gonna kill off Katherine Heigl and only give me a few minutes of her? I love her. After seeing that card though, and knowing that she's not alone in the building, like she opens the pop-up card and it shows her getting her throat slit. All she had to do was turn on some Wu-Tang Clan and protect her neck, and she would have lived. Yeah, that's basically all I got in the notes here. It's a pretty good opening. I'm in. We get action right away. We get the villain's origin story, and so it's got some good things thrown in there. But you already have to get the feeling that it's going to be one of those cheesy slashers. So it could have been a lot worse than I was expecting. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
Hey, Nico, real quick, and I agree with you, Dustin. Nico, real quick, a lot of people, and I know that I think Dead Meat talks about it on his kill count. I don't see the 80s inspiration like a lot of people have claimed in this movie. This is very fucking Scream to me, outside of the meta.
Yeah, it's everything after Scream. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't feel like this is a Friday the 13th part, 4 or whatever. Like this is not that at all to me.
Yeah, I don't see it either. All right, Paige and Kate talk about the pain of blind dating as they walk into a speed dating session. Kate says she hasn't even fully broke up with her boyfriend Adam, who battles alcoholism. Now we just get a quick montage of Kate with these terrible blind dates. Paige steps in and swoops in on a guy she's interested in. Kate gets a call from Dorothy getting the news of Shelley's death. We're at her funeral now, and we meet Kate's boyfriend Adam. She's happy he's there, and they hug tightly. She finds a newspaper in his car and a bottle of booze. He says he got it for a friend who got a promotion at the paper. He tells her he hasn't drank in 3 weeks and is doing better. He wants to have dinner this week, but she's hesitant because of what happened the last time. She says she will call him. They embrace one last time as he drives away, and I wrote, all this is happening literally right beside the burial spot. Her girlfriends all come to her and ask how they're doing, and the detective Vaughn approaches and asks a few questions of how they knew Shelley and the last time they saw her. He then says Jason Marquette was with her that night and he's missing. He leaves them with his card as he leaves. Dorothy gets home and she finds a Valentine's card now with an evil message now with the initials JM. A doorbell rings and it's Campbell, her boyfriend of 1 month. He tells her he got kicked out of his apartment. Dorothy calls for Millie, her housekeeper, and has her set up a guest bedroom for him. Her stepmom Kim checks out Campbell, and they have a bitchy conversation, and Dorothy's dad comes down to break up the fight and sides with his wife. Kate is in the shower and hears noises in her apartment. She gets out the shower in her towel and scopes it out. She tries to get back in the shower, but the water pipes aren't working. She calls her landlord and leaves an angry message. Then she gives herself a swirly to rinse the shampoo out. A ring on the phone and she hears only static. She hears the elevator open and sees her door is open now. She gets to the elevator and sees it's propped open by that cherub mask, excuse me, that the killer was wearing. She grabs the mask and Gary, her neighbor, barges out of his room and asks for a date. After some Dr. Seuss rhymes with her name, she walks back to her room. Lily is watching some videos of male candidates wanting to date. She turns the video off, not feeling the guy. Lily gets a buzz at the door and can't see anyone. She opens the door and finds a rose and box of chocolates. She thinks it's from Matt. She opens the card and another weird message signed JM. Lily jokes it's for Paige since she knows more guys. She takes a bite of the chocolate and is full of maggots. She spits it out and drops them all on the ground. The two ladies sit on the couch guessing names who might have been the one who sent the card and chocolates. They pick on poor old Jeremy Milton, the pervert buck-teeth kid. They ask what happened to him. She drinks orange juice now to get the taste out of her mouth. All right, go ahead, Brian.
So, you guys talked in depth about it to begin with, but we get introduced here to Wild Things prime Denise Richards right here in this scene. And of course, Marley Shelton, Wendy Peppercorn, and I guess from Scream 4, but she's always Wendy Peppercorn to me.
Damn right.
And
I'm trying to be her squints.
Okay. Apparently this actually
I'm trying to
started
eat some
over.
of them lemon square bars. Oh, my bad.
Anyway, so apparently this actually started over at Artisan and had a different producer. So at one point they actually had Tara Reid playing Capshaw's character, Dorothy, who we haven't got to yet. And Jennifer Love Hewitt was playing Denise Richards as Paige. And I love me some Jennifer Love Hewitt, but I think Richards did, just a fine job here. I wrote this down because in that speed dating scene, there's that one guy who was like, "Let me out in the goddamn blue." That guy cracked my ass up. Of all of them, that dude made me laugh. Also, we're introduced to David Boreanaz in this group of scenes. I mean, it didn't get much bigger than him in 2001, and he was in Buffy and Angel. Actually, apparently Banks originally wanted Jared Leto, who was in his Urban Legend with him, but with Warner Brothers owning Buffy and they were promoting Angel at the time, I'm sure that was the whole deciding factor with getting Boreanaz in there. Jared Leto would have been weird in that role anyway, I think. Then we actually get Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter, Jessica Capshaw, as Dorothy, who, like her mom, Kate Capshaw, was actually in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But actually, Jessica, interestingly enough, was in Grey's Anatomy with Heigl as well. They were just there at different stints of the show. And I will say that whole mail order bride sequence between Dorothy, and her stepmom, I thought was super cringy dialogue, in acting, the whole shebang. I think it was pretty subpar with Kate and the whole shower thing as well. Like it was actually starting to get on my nerves, the amount of times that she was turning on and off the water on the different things, like she was going to get a different outcome there. She started leaving the message when she called the landlord. She started leaving the message before the beep even happened, and yeah, and plus, like, has anyone who made this movie ever even seen how an elevator works? Because you're telling me that little cheap ass plastic Halloween mask is stopping the elevator doors like consistently, and then right off, and then you get Kate date mate guy. Get the fuck out of here with that whole sequence. Like that dude, that dude is on my nerves too. So I think like this whole little sequence was really just it wasn't for me. But I will give props for the maggot candy because I mean that was pretty original. And either way, it's not my favorite parts of the movie here.
Yeah, so everything great I said about the last set of scenes, I'm going to say the complete opposite about this set of scenes. These fucking suck. I think there's a lot of characters here that I just don't give a shit about. Now, again, I'm okay with Kate, and I'm okay with I'm okay with the actresses, but except for the one who plays Lily, because Lily is the least relevant to this whole entire story outside of eating the maggot candy, which I'm going to give props to. I'm here to give flowers. Those effects looked really good. So however they did that, props to them. That was really good. Again, we're introduced to Adam. We're introduced to a lot of characters here in this set of scenes. And I kind of like the story between Kate and Adam. I think that's kind of good. I think it was Dead Meat that said it. Hope you like your herrings red, because this whole movie is full of red herrings, which again, Scream kind of set that trope where it could be anybody. So this movie, of course, had to follow suit, and that's okay. I think this set of scenes made me wish that Katherine Heigl's character lived longer because they needed her. I mean, there's some bad dialogue here. Even the funeral scene is just it's the whole scene with the sheriff. And look, it's not his fault, what he was given, but he doesn't play this detective very well to me. I don't think he does a great job. And so that whole funeral scene is awkward. There's just a lot of here. And it just kind of drags the movie down a little bit. It's not the worst sequence in the movie. I'll say that for an artist gallery. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm a little bit opposite of Brian. The Kate date mate shit made me laugh. That shit was funny to me. I don't know. I guess not great dialogue or anything, but it was pretty damn funny. Scary Gary, that was pretty good. Like, I don't know. I thought it was humorous, and I kind of needed it at the time. Plus, got to look at Wendy Peppercorn in a towel. So, not the worst day ever. But that's pretty much all I had. Obviously, these characters are, especially Paige, is very over-sexualized, which, again, no problem. Not a big deal. Not going to complain. But you're right, Brian. The mail order bride scene, and Jessica Capshaw, who I think is a good actress, just something about her delivery in this movie as this character just did not work for me as Dorothy. Like, I don't know. It wasn't very something wasn't very believable to me. And I'm nitpicking the hell out of a cheesy slasher. I get it. But I mean, this set of scenes just kind of take everything I liked about, all the intrigue I got out of the opening set of scenes and kind of threw it away for me. Wasn't a huge fan. A lot of stock characters, and they shoved a 10-pound thing of shit in a 2-pound bag here because they put a lot in this opening set of scenes.
Yeah, it's funny. The first thing I have in my notes for this set of scenes is Wendy Peppercorn ... And yes, I understand that's not her name, but she will always... Yeah, I'm wearing glasses just like Squints right now. Anyway, the speed dating scene is hilarious, but it's really unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Like, why? And then it's just like the funeral, though. It's unnecessary. We don't need that. They throw in too many unnecessary scenes and unnecessary characters, like the dad and the stepmom, the maid, Campbell showing up. Like, I don't know. It's just, it felt too forced right here to throw too many characters in our face to let us know, like, ooh, remember this person. It could be them. Ooh, this person could come back into play. It's unnecessary. It killed it for me. Took me out of it. And also, dummy, bowl water is not the water you want to use. It's the upper tank water that's clean. So just for future reference, if your water goes out and you have shampoo in your hair, upper tank water is clean. Unless someone took an upper decker in your house, then you need 5 new friends. I actually like the mask left in the elevator. Like, I get it. It might be a little unbelievable that little flimsy ass mask would stop the elevator, but it might not be. Maybe it's a cheap ass elevator. You don't know the budget of that building.
I don't know its life. I don't know its life.
Yeah, you don't know the struggle. But I thought it was a nice little thing. The only thing I wish, though, is that the mask would have meant something to her. She had no reason to suspect anything because she's supposed to remember that someone wore a mask like that 13 years ago at the dance or whatever it was.
Right.
This is the first time she's seen it, so it didn't really mean anything. I wish that they had said that when Shelley was murdered, security cameras found a mask or something. Then it would build some more suspense. But whatever, it's fine. Gary is a fucking lunatic. Okay, that's the next line of my notes. Maggot chocolate. How fucking sick was that? There's a lot of creativity in this. There's a lot of originality. There's a lot of good shit in this movie. I laughed my ass off when she bites into it and just, oh God, how she didn't throw up is beyond me, but you choose orange juice to cleanse your palate. But the thing that irked me the most, though, is they're like, JM, who could JM be? When the fucking detective just told you, what was his name? Jeremy Marquette?
Yeah.
Like, they already forgot. They didn't even bring up Jeremy Marquette. Because if one of my friends has died, and then they tell me, and the cop tells me a name that might be a suspect, and then I receive a card that is signed JM, I'm gonna remember that. But whatever, neither here nor there. That's all I got on this set of scenes. It's there was some good in these scenes, but it was buried under too much shit.
I don't know. They kept saying JM, and all I ever think of is that's how naughty it says Jim's name in American Pie. Jim? No, Jim? Just JM. Okay, anyway, sorry. Square root of American Pie, baby, always.
All right, Paige and Kate are at an art show, and they discuss what they went through. Kate waves at Jason, Shelley's date. They think he's hot, but he walks away creepily. Lily shows up with her man friend, Max. It's his art show. He and Paige seem to have beef. Max kisses Lily as he has to leave with some technical difficulties. Paige walks away and meets Campbell, and Dorothy walks up. Lily jokes Paige was hitting on him. The girls ask what else is Dorothy hiding from them. Max is giving a lecture, and the ladies discuss the cherub mask Kate found. Dorothy remembers it from the dance in junior high, and Max clears his throat to stop them from talking. He has the ladies and guys separate to each side of the room to meet their blind dates. The ladies walk through a maze of TVs, and on the TVs there's guys asking like dating questions. Love me in a creepy voice over and over from a close-up mouth. Max and Lily post up, making out intensely, and Amy shows up. Max says he invited her, and Lily is pissed. She walks out, calling him a sleazeball. She gets confused in the maze, and she hears, "Don't walk away from me," over and over, and the power shuts off. She gets hit by an arrow by the cherub killer, then another arrow to the gut. She falls through a door, and one more shot in the chest, and she falls into a dumpster at the bottom of the stairway. Ruthie is bitching at Campbell about getting her money back and tells him to watch his back as he drags Dorothy away. Kate meets Adam at a bar, and she tells him what's going on today. She's getting Gary up. She's setting Gary up as a potential stalker. Adam says he's the one stealing her underwear, and he likes to wear them himself. He's asking her for another chance. She's scared of him when he drinks, and she's making him wait a little bit. Detective Vaughn is with Paige, Dorothy, and Kate now, and they say Lily is out of town. He shows them the card sent in remembrance to Shelley's parents, signed Jeremy Melton. All the ladies tell him about their card signed JM. Dorothy says he's a kid who got sent to reform school after attacking her. Detective says she doesn't know that for a fact it's him. He says he'll go check it out, though. Dorothy thinks she's being attacked next. She tells Paige and Kate now that he didn't actually attack her, and she says she was fat and she couldn't bear it, and when the other guys showed up, so she falsely accused him of attacking her. Paige says not to worry about it. Kate looks up Jeremy online and finds no matches found. She's reading a report, and Adam scares her. She forgot they were having dinner tonight. She asks if he thinks it's far-fetched the Jeremy Melton Revenge Tour. He says they should go to Mexico until it blows over. She asks if he wants to come up, and they kiss at her apartment steps. He doesn't want to do anything she'll regret tomorrow, and he says not to worry about it and everything will be all right. All right, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, this whole rich art deco, fancy pinky out party, it definitely I kind of that's how I picture Mike's wedding whenever that happens. That's what I picture is going to happen. So keep that in mind, Mike, whenever we plan that.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
What?
Rolling up in Nico's G wagons. I feel it.
Oh yeah, he's supplying the G wagons.
I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon. Anyway,
Absolutely not.
with the maze, the what do you like to do? What do you like? That shit kind of got annoying. But other than that, like the maze was actually pretty visually interesting. I definitely different, disorienting. I really actually really liked that part. The soundtrack, especially during the maze, I love it. It has just early 2000s rock horror movie soundtrack. You got Get Disturbed, Linkin Park, Orgy, and your boy Rob Zombie, who, by the way, has great music. I will say that.
And great movies.
Okay.
Fuck you, Brian.
It's just so what? But it go. Sorry, is it Lily? I think Lily here. But dude, I don't know. I laughed with the whole sleazeball comment. Like I was like, wait, what? Did she just call him a sleazeball? I was not. That came out of nowhere. That definitely just surprised me there. I will say though, the cuts on her death I thought were really well done. Like the beats, it just all hit right with that, including the shots. As she's going over the balcony, I thought that was very, very well done. The rest of the set of scenes, I mean, it's just pretty much the girls figuring out it's Jeremy Melton and not much more than that. So that's pretty much all I had on the set.
Yeah, this is kind of the point of the movie where I felt like it was starting to drag a little bit, and it's a fun watch in some ways and a long watch in others. And this is kind of the set of scenes that I think it's a little bit long. Like I know I kind of complained about lack of character development, but we clearly aren't getting it. So if we're not going to do it, let's move along. Let's get on with some kills. Now, I will say this set of scenes has a good kill to me, but I'll hold off for a second. The art gallery stuff. It is, like you said, visually, it's interesting. It's something different to look at than what we've been looking at. However, that shit was annoying as hell. But it made for a little bit of a creepy environment. It could have been done a little bit more creepy to me. The character of Max can fuck off, though, by the way. He's terrible. God almighty. But, outside of that, that scene just went on a little too long for me. It ended with a really good kill to me because it was very to the theme of Valentine's Day. Motherfucker kills somebody with a bow and arrow like Cupid. That is good creativity to me. I enjoyed that very much. But I mean, no, was it the coolest looking kill? No, but it was creative. After that, Brian, you made a good point. Not a whole lot really happens except them really kind of discussing what JM is. And I don't know. I will say this set of scene this is the set of scenes I started to get a little suspicious of the character of Adam. They could red hair me to death for everyone else, but it was this set of scenes where he was almost too nice. Something seemed off. And I remembered Kate being the one that said maybe later. And so her being so focused on so heavily kind of made me feel, and he has a drinking problem and all this other stuff. So this is kind of the set of scenes where my gear started to turn the first time I ever saw it of who the possible killer could be. It didn't have a whole lot on this scenes, but I love the kill of Lily. I think it was really good, really creative.
Yeah, this set of scenes, I agree with what you said there, Mike. This is where you kind of start to put pieces in place. However, we get introduced to Max, and Max is just creepy as fuck. But this is one of the things in horror movies that really annoys me when they do this. They try too hard to throw you off the path. They introduce all these people and make them very mysterious and very creepy, or they make them seem like plausible people of interest. but it's unnecessary. Like, you've got a good movie here, but you're watering it down too much, in my opinion, by having all these people come in and out. And then, hey, shit, like I said earlier with the kid at the dance, shooter's going to shoot, and by God, Max wanted that 3-3, and I don't blame him. I respect that. The bow and arrow death, that was a nice touch. We need more bow and arrow deaths in movies.
Agreed.
100%.
I agree.
But yeah, and then we get Adam and Kate. My man Adam, he's a recovering alcoholic. He's really trying to do right by his lady. So they go to a bar and sit at the bar. Like, shit, man. Like, you want to talk about just tempting yourself, but that's okay. We get another stupid jump scare in this set of scenes, though, when she's sitting at the computer and Adam walks up behind her and puts his hand on her shoulder. Like, fuck. False jump scares are a big no-no. Like, that's just, it's stupid. It's unnecessary. But overall, just it's an okay set of scenes. It's very mediocre. The maze was, I agree, it was creepy as shit, but Max is an artist, and artists have to explore, or whatever the fuck he called himself. But
He
yeah.
sucks as an artist.
Hey, he was a toxic god, though. I love that. He's like, but you knew I was a sleazeball.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. You know how many times I've told girls you knew what you were getting into before you got messed around with me? Sorry, go ahead.
I bet Future and Max hang out at parties.
Any single ladies, Dustin is single if you want to hit him up.
Yep.
But you know what you're getting yourself into.
You do. A 3-date rule. Sorry, go ahead.
Vaughn has the 3 ladies at the station, and he tells them Jeremy's parents died 3 years ago in a fire, and they don't know where he is. Vaughn shows him some computer animated faces of what he might look like. And then he says he might not look like any of that, had plastic surgery. He asks about Lily again and Max. He then asks the ladies about any boyfriends. Kate describes Adam, and then Dorothy describes Campbell, and it seems real sketchy about Campbell. Dorothy roasts Paige for giving up, sex real easy to all these guys. Vaughn asks Dorothy what's Campbell's last name, and she doesn't even know it, and she's offended and walks out. Vaughn asks Paige to stay a little longer, and she flirts with him jokingly. He has her take a seat and asks what they're going to do about this tension between them, the sexual tension. Paige says to remove your hand from my thigh and put it up your ass as she walks out. Back at Kate's apartment, we see her creepy neighbor Gary trying on her underwear. The cherub killer burns his face with the iron and then beats him to death with it. Adam and Kate meet outside her apartment. He says he's been interrogated by the detective all day. He volunteers to be her date for Dorothy's party tonight, and he's got his gift for her. It's just a big sucker, and she gives him an IOU of TLC. Kate walks into her apartment and sees the irons all wrapped up like the cord. She hears a noise and grabs the iron, but it's just Paige. The phone rings and it's Dorothy. She tells them Vaughn requested Campbell not leave town for a few days. Paige says to hang up the phone and make it up to him if he's mad. And I wrote Dorothy is really pissy. Another call is Detective Vaughn. He says they picked up Marquette and they should be careful. Back at Dorothy's house, and Campbell has a hot tub running smooth, and she apologized to him about that morning. She got him a gift, and it's a new watch. She kisses him passionately, and now we see them in bed together. And I wrote they look kind of miserable. I wrote, I guess my man didn't lay the pipe. He brings her a towel in the shower and gives her a gift. Huh?
God, I love the way you phrase things sometimes. Go ahead.
Where the hell am I at? All right, he brings her a towel in the shower and gives her a gift. I wrote it looks like a cheap ass necklace. He says he has to go meet with investors for an hour.
That fucking
and she asks if he cares.
necklace, goddamn.
yeah. She asks if he cares to join her, but he wants to go work out. He says he'll be back before the party. Campbell's on the phone giving some info and wants his money. A call over the buzzer and they lost hot water, and Dorothy asks if he'll relight the pilot light in the basement. He goes into the basement and he goes to turn a light switch on, and we see the cherub killer in the background. He bends over and reignites the pilot light, is immediately killed with an axe to the back. All right, go ahead, Brian.
Yes, I don't, I want to point this out, and I don't think Mrs. Richards would have any issue with me saying this because, she's actually been quoted as saying that before, early in her career, she knew that they needed the pretty girl and that she was the eye candy a lot of movies. So That's definitely obvious in this movie. I mean, we kind of brought that up a little bit while there's a lot of good looking women in this movie. Like you can tell her role as in almost like every single scene that she's in. She starts off wearing some sort of jacket, something to cover up her like tight top, and then takes it off at some point through the scenes. I noticed it earlier. I think it was whenever they pointed it out at the funeral scene, but she does it again here at the police station too. And I was like, what? That's definitely going to happen throughout the movie. Which I'm not complaining, but
I'm gonna say, hey, that ain't no problem. Ain't no
what I,
problem.
what I do want to complain about though, I think it's like it's out of place with the cop hitting on Paige. Like it was bad enough like with the eye fucking that he was doing, but like sitting her down and bringing it up like and just I don't that was it was cringe worthy and definitely did not age well to me. um Speaking of not aging well, the that digital aging technology stuff that they have with the police station, that that was hilarious because that picture looked exactly like you did as a kid, but they were just putting different hair and hat on him and shit, like a mustache and shit. Like it was like a picture of my 10-year-old kid, but just put a mustache on. I don't know. It was just it cracked me up. I thought it was funny. Um, Big plus for the Gary kill, like with the iron. Again, I hated that they didn't show it, but uh, I will do the same thing and give this movie props once again for at least some creative kills. But this movie, if you would have seen these kills, I think I at least would have rated it a lot higher. I mean, I think it almost cripples the movie because you already don't have the greatest dialogue in the world, and you're not going to show the kills. So it's just I don't know. It definitely knocks it down a few notches from what it could have been. Um, and Dustin brought up the red herrings. Like I thought, yeah, there might have been too many, but I do think that it does a pretty good job of like setting up those red herrings, like kind of like they set up Boreanaz as like the obvious choice. So like obviously you actually like, especially after seeing these other like whodunit slashers of the late '90s, like it's so obvious that it's Boreanaz that you pretty much immediately write it off as in like no way it can be him. Because I think like me and Mike, or I think it was Mike, was talking about it in Scream 2, where we both said that we kind of wish that they would have gone with the obvious choice and made it the boyfriend instead of, trying so hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, instead of trying so hard, but here we are. And speaking of trying so hard, poor Campbell. Like, look, he's broke as hell, can't get it up, and then he gets an axe to the back. I mean, what else? What else can you say? He was a total hack. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, God damn it. I quit. I quit.
It's funny he got hit with an axe and he got whacked the same way Dick did, all because his dick couldn't whack anything.
Oh,
Go ahead.
There you go.
And later there's a dick that gets waxed. All right. Anyway, so
Waxed.
Okay.
Waxed.
Waxed. Relax, everyone. Okay. So I kind of mentioned it earlier. I just don't buy that this guy is a detective. So I'm not bought into this set of scenes because I don't look. I'm not here to critique acting. I try my best to not do it, but there's just something about the character that's not very believable to me. So he's just some bald dude, asking these girls and kind of being a creep. And I don't know. I don't like it. You made a good point. This is definitely the scene where you can tell that why Denise Richards is in this movie. No complaints. Have no issue with it. But we see, what's happening here. And again, it was very out of place. It had nothing to do with the rest of the film. And they don't even bring it up again, really, except for her calling him a creep. And I don't know. It just felt so unnecessary. Kind of bloated the runtime. I don't think it was needed. And again, getting to Dorothy and Campbell, the character of Campbell, who, by the way, my man, Dale Cosgrove, I love, okay, and most of the things he's in. But not here. I just think his character is completely fucking useless. His arc doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, we find out he's kind of a fake and a phony, but I don't know. We kind of didn't need it. Like, I don't know. It didn't really do it. I guess it gave Dorothy somebody, and I don't know. To me, it didn't really set up anything. He was just he was there to get killed like a lot of other characters. And I felt like this movie would be a little bit better with some of those characters removed if they were just there being killed instead of actually giving dialogue and stuff. So I don't know. Small complaint, but you guys are right.
my man, Campbell. That's that hurt, man.
But again, poor Campbell. And that scene, I don't think he gave two shits because he gives her that fucking flea market ass necklace, anyways. And he's on the phone cussing. He's just trying to steal her money. So get it up, don't get it up, whatever. This set of scenes didn't bother me. It just felt like there's a lot of stuff here that I just don't care enough about to invest. And so, but I do like that it's that we're leading into what I think is two better sets of scenes.
Yeah. Excuse me. So first of all, let's. God, I'm having to collect myself because of what just transpired. But we go back to when they're at the police station. Jesus Christ, Detective Vaughn absolutely roasted the fuck out of her when she's like, "Do you have any more recent pictures?" And he just kind of pauses and looks at her and goes,
Yeah.
"If we did, don't you think we'd be looking at him?" Like, that shit was hilarious to me. He roasted the fuck out of her, dummy. Dorothy is the worst. I absolutely hate Dorothy as a character, as a person. I don't even like the actress anymore because of this. Like, fuck everything about
Damn.
That's how I feel about John Redcorn. Thank you.
John Redcorn. Wow. Anyway, it's it's all her fault. And then she gets all defensive when she doesn't, and she gets busted for not knowing Campbell's last name. Like, all this shit is her fault. Everything's happening. It's because of her. And then she wants to have the nerve to get all pissy because she doesn't know her boyfriend's name when she let him move in after a month, after she just called Paige a slut, essentially. Fuck out of here, Dorothy. Detective shooting his fucking shot. I mean, this movie is about some toxic things here. Jesus Christ. I respect it, but his ass would have been fired expeditiously. I mean, holy shit. He's supposed to be protecting her and looking into a homicide that was very close to her. And then he's going to have the nerve to sexually harass her. Whew, that's walking a fine line there, detective. He puts the dick in detective. Murder via a hot iron. That's rough business. I don't, when I'm cooking and I touch and I get a little grease spackle on me, that shit annoys the fuck out of me. It hurts. Imagine getting a hot iron to the face and then just bludgeoned with it. That was that was impressive.
Yeah.
Kate is such a gold digger, is what I thought. Like, you're taking some time off with Adam. You're being reluctant to get back with him. He really loves you. You can tell, and he's trying his damnedest. And then the first thing you say when he shows up is, "So where's my gift?" Fuck out of here, lady. And then then you have the nerve to give him an IOU. Oof, the nerve of women.
Sex is not a gift.
Exactly.
By the way, and that's another thing. They don't give two shits about Valentine's Day from the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Campbell is a scammer that busts his nut quickly and then gets an axe to the back. That is a tough scene. What a sequence of events. But did we really need the scammer scene, like when he's out by the pool trying to, commit wire fraud?
No, we didn't.
That didn't advance anything. That didn't do anything. We already knew that he was a scuzz bucket. All we had to do was just have old girl show up and say, "That's my necklace," and we'd be like, "Oh, okay, so he is a piece of shit." We didn't need him to try to steal Evan White's money, born in 1940, San Francisco, all that shit. We didn't need that. It did nothing for me. If you wanted an excuse to have him go down to the, light the pilot, all you had to do was have him in the same room when it goes out and have her say, "Hey, could you go do that?" It was unnecessary. Fluff and filler scene that didn't need. But I don't really complain too much in this movie about fluff and fillers because the runtime was really good. I mean, an hour and a half works for me, and the action's decently paced. It's kind of unevenly paced, but it's decently paced to where I don't feel like it drags too much. But that's one scene that it annoys me because it didn't. There was no payoff. It didn't go anywhere. But anyway, that's all I got. Go ahead.
Oh man, what an episode so far. Later that night at the party, Kate and Paige meet up, but Paige immediately leaves to go find a date. Kate asks Dorothy, still no Campbell, but it's 11 and he still hasn't shown up. She says she's being dumped. Adam shows up and Dorothy says the party blows and men suck. No offense. She excuses herself. On the dance floor, Adam asks Kate if she's doing anything later. She says hooking up with a young stud. He breaks out his IOU and says he'll do. They make out on the dance floor. Brian, the guy from Turbo Dating, shows up and dances with Paige. Within 30 seconds, they make out and he wants to take her upstairs. He wants to show her a surprise. Dorothy looks at Paige in disgust as they walk by. They make out in a bedroom and she asks about the surprise. He drops his pants and says, "Surprise." She sits there and he asks, "Well, what you waiting for? Wax it." He stops her as she goes to walk out and he says, "It'll be fun." She has him take his shirt off and his pants. She lays him down and ties him to the bed and blindfolds him. She asks if you still want me to wax it. So she pours hot candle wax on his dick and leaves. She tells Kate the party sucks. Ruthie shows up and tells Dorothy that's her necklace and he stole the rest of her jewelry, and Campbell only loves her trust fund as she's drug out the party. Max asks Kate if she's seen Lily, and he says she never made it to L.A. She walks off as he doesn't answer the question. Ruthie searches through Campbell's luggage and hears a rustle in another room. She sneaks out and makes it downstairs as she sees the killer dragging the dead housekeeper. The killer attacks, but then the killer is hit with a pool stick, and then Ruthie is chased by the killer with a knife. She hides in like this sauna room. The killer double takes in the door's window. Ruthie crawls through like this tunnel in the house and sees Campbell's dead body. She comes out of hiding and walks back out the door. The killer grabs her from behind and throws her through a glass shower wall. The killer impales her face onto the broken glass. Kay asks Dorothy if she's okay and says Max said Lily never showed up to L.A. She says her dad has a gun, then gets a call from Vaughn. They let Marquette go, and their friend never made it to L.A. He says he's on the way now. And the next two scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, the final act getting underway here at a party, that's obviously another horror movie trope, especially for, I was going to say any of the movies, mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, pretty much the same thing. They're almost always ended a party, which is fine. But I just kind of feel like that this whole third act, the first part of it, basically this group of scenes is kind of meh to me. But come on, Brian, like, Denise Richards asks you what's upstairs, you got to go with a better answer than something I want to show you, a surprise. I don't know. No, I didn't think that was good writing at all. But on the flip side, like, also, come on, Paige, like, she acts like she didn't know that that's what he was talking about. Like, what surprise did you think he was talking about? And damn, did he deserve the wax on his dick? I mean, that's probably the most brutal thing in this entire movie. Can I have that for best kill? Because I mean, you poured hot wax on my dick, I would be dead. Anyway, great kill for real on Ruthie, Campbell's ex, or the head on the glass kill. That to me it spoiled my favorite kill of this movie. I thought it was done great. It actually shows it. Maybe that's, they had to cut all of them, but they left this one in. I did like that. But again, like, this group of scenes, I do feel, really kind of drags on a little bit for me. And at least in this point, I'm ready to kind of get to the ending of it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. And again, there's the party trope that you kind of touched on a little bit, but I don't necessarily think this set of scenes is bad. I'm just kind of ready to get to the climax, the action with the killer. But you're right. There is a great kill here with Ruthie, head glass kill. I thought that was good, and that scene is really well done. That how the killer stalks her, is following her. I think that was a really, really good, well shot scene. Very typical horror, but I think this movie kind of needed some typical horror, and I think you get it in that scene. I think it's pretty well done. But there's just not a lot to me that this set of scenes really kind of pushes forward, and that's what bugs me. It's just a party for party's sake. Now, let's get to Dick being waxed. Dick's been whacked on our show. Now Dick is being waxed on our show. Listen, it's first of all, this movie has a lot of stupid fucking characters that make stupid fucking decisions. This guy going upstairs with Denise Richards having nothing to offer but his dick is not enough. It's not like he's God's gift to earth. She's pretty close. You better have at least a stack of cash back there or something, buddy. You went up there with a flaccid penis and thought you was going to get yours. No, sir. That did not go well for you. I felt no sympathy for my man Dick getting waxed. Again, he said he wanted her to wax it. Well, she fucking did. I thought that was it's a fun scene. It does nothing to further the movie, but I thought, fuck it. Might as well put something entertaining here. And I thought that was pretty entertaining. Again, not a great set of scenes. Kind of like you, Brian. I'm ready to get to the climax, but this has a good kill, and I get enjoyment out of the Dick wax scene because fuck that guy. Anise, if you're listening, I would treat you so much better than that guy. If you just call me sometime. Okay, thank you.
Why are you whispering? Is Cat listening?
Oh, I wish you'd shut the hell up. That's what I wish you'd do.
Anyway, God, what is happening on this episode? Yeah, so my man is giving her the coke face from across the dance floor. And when he said he's got a gift, like that's what I was expecting. Hey, let's go upstairs, do some drugs, because man looked like he was geeking. But come on, I found it a little bit weird though that she got all like you had to know I was coming, right? Let's go upstairs. I got a gift for you when you're making out with him.
Exactly.
You had to know that he was talking about sex. Millie the maid died, I guess.
Yeah.
Off screen.
Least favorite kill in the movie. Spoiler.
The fuck did she do, man? She seemed like a nice lady. But and then, we just see her lifeless body being dragged across the floor. That was lame to me. It was very stupid. Campbell's what was Campbell's ex's name? The girl who stole
Ruthie.
Yeah, Ruthie.
Ruthie.
Her what? Anyway,
Roofy, like the rooflin.
No. Anyway, Ruthie's death.
Sorry, Brian.
Ruthie's death was very creative. Like Brian said, that was very well done. I liked it. I wish that we could have got more gory with it. I mean, that still ended up being some of the most blood that we see, or the most blood when we come back to the body later, the most blood that we see in the entire film. But I really like that. Like, push through a shower door and then the jagged glass is what gets you. This movie does some things really well. It's very creative in some of the killing. So kudos to them. And yeah, so going through these set of scenes, I felt like we're setting up for a good ending. So I said at the first of the review that the opening scenes were my favorite set of scenes other than the ending. And it's around this time I feel like, okay, we got to be setting up for something pretty good because the action is just too fast paced. We're getting some shit done here. And I think I like where the movie's going at this point.
Oh, man. All right, here's the last two scenes. Kate walks in on Adam, and he's chugging alcohol. She walks out pissed off, and her feelings are hurt. She tells him to get away. Paige gets into the hot tub now to relax. She drinks some champagne, and we see the cherub killer look through the glass, and we see the door open. She turns and sees the door's closed now. She sees a rose by the champagne now and grabs it. She says hello and asks if anyone wants to be her Valentine. She exits the hot tub looking for who's in the room. She turns around and the killer grabs her by the throat and throws her into the hot tub and closes the cover of it, I guess. The killer grabs a drill and drills holes into the cover and drills into her arm, shoulder area. He opens the cover now and electrocutes her by throwing the drill in the hot tub. The power goes out now and Dorothy and Kate meet up saying a fuse blew. Kate asks where's Paige and Dorothy says probably the hot tub. She now insinuates Adam could be the killer. Kate doesn't think he's a murderer though. Dorothy doesn't trust her judgment and says, who says Jeremy didn't have surgery and become Adam? Kate then calls out Campbell and how much she knows about him. Dorothy is offended and says she can't stand that she's found someone as good looking as Kate did with Adam. She still thinks she's the fat girl. She says, screw all of you and walks out. And then I just wrote, I love Kate's cries to Dorothy to come back. Kate goes outside and tries to call Vaughn. She hears his cell phone ring in the yard and finds it on the ground by a koi pond. She then sees the IOU. Then she sees a horrible prop Vaughn had in the pond. She runs off calling for Paige and Dorothy. She goes back inside and we see Adam walking creepily down the stairs in the dark room. Adam says Dorothy is a big girl and asks for her to dance with him and don't make him beg. They slow dance and he says he screwed up. She looks terrified and says she's scared he'll hurt her. He says she's the only good thing in his life. She says she doesn't want to hurt him, but she will, and she needs him in his nuts. She runs upstairs to a wrecked room looking for Dorothy. Adam is upstairs and asks what's going on. She runs away from him down the stairs and finds Paige in the hot tub, and she hits Adam with a wine bottle in the head. She now finds Ruthie's dead body. She tries to call the cops and grabs a pistol. She creeps the house now and goes back up the stairs. The cherub killer jumps out and knocks Kate down the stairs, falling down the stairs with her. They're both on the ground, and the killer sits up Undertaker style and is gunned down immediately by Adam. Kate says she's so sorry and hugs him. He says it's all right and lifts the mask and is Dorothy. He grabs her and says don't look at her as she cries. He calls the cops now. Kate says she doesn't understand because she was so happy a few weeks ago. Adam embraces her again and blames Dorothy's loneliness and anger. Kate apologizes for how she was and says she loved him. He says he's always loved her. And the film ends and we see a drip of blood fall on her cheek from his nose. And the film ends with a really loud scream. All right, Brian, go ahead. What do you think of the ending?
Well, first off, like Paige's death, I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was another creative kill. I will say I thought it was funny with Paige walking around trying to find out who it was that was out there and that gave her the flower. And she was like, Brian, like, you just poured hot wax on that dude's fucking dick. You think he's down there trying to shoot his shot again? Like, what the fuck? I don't know any dude that is going back for seconds after you poured hot wax on the dude's dick. Anyway,
Nevertheless, he
well, he tried. Anyway, the soundtrack during her walking around, I agree. Nothing about this movie is 80s horror slasher except this part. To me, the soundtrack right here was very Friday the 13th. It was like, it just had that single piano keys, every so often. It definitely reminded me of Friday the 13th. I did have a note that I thought Detective Vaughn's fake head in the lake looked terrible. But all in all, I really love the ending. I think it saves this movie. I think it boosted a couple of points in my book. I mean, you don't even find out until the very last frame of this movie who the killer was the whole time. The characters in the movie never even find out. There's no dialogue spoken, just boom. Fuck you and your happy ending. And so I love and respect the shit out of it for that. So it's going to get higher marks just specifically because of this fucking ending. I thought it was great.
Yep, I think Paige's death is really good. Outside of the drilling of the holes, which I don't know, I feel like him throwing that drill in is just kind of him saying "fuck it." I can't get her with this drill. I'm just gonna electrocute her ass. Which I'm okay. Now I thought that was good. I thought it was funny but again, I like that kill. I think it's good. The tension in that scene is good. Obviously she's going to die. You're kind of curious how. Then you remember she'd rather be boiled alive. So that's what he does. And I think that was really clever by the writing and the way they shot it. Thought it was really well done. So again, yeah, the detective head looks like dog shit. It almost looks like a wax statue of Dr. Loomis or something. It's just not very good. It doesn't look very good at all. But I really do like this. I don't know what you call this ending, but I think they do a really good job of making me think it's Dorothy after all this until the last second. That was really well done. The first time I watched it, I did not see that coming. The whole time I'm thinking it's Adam. Like, I'm pretty sure it's Adam. And then, well, I guess it wasn't that. Oh, shit, it really was. So I really like that. I love that scene, how they drag it out. They make you think it's Adam, and then they hit you with Dorothy. And they come back and kind of slap you back around across the face with Adam. And I think that was really, really well done. Good writing. I know it was a novel and they kind of turned it into this movie. And so really enjoyed that. I think I'm just not a fan of guns being in my slasher movies. So like Dorothy's death, meh, whatever. But again, I think this is the best acting we get from Wendy Peppercorn. Like, she's pretty good in these scenes as a as a final girl, kind of running away from the killer, or even kind of battling back against who she thought it was. And I think they're the only two that built a damn character. There's some character development between Adam and Kate, and I think because of that, I care about this ending. I want to see how it ends. And obviously, he's drunk, or we think anyway, and he's probably just a little fucking crazy. And so, the last shot of this movie with the nosebleed, I think is really good. It does, like you said, Brian, it brings it up just a little bit, because there's a lot in this movie that just kind of drags. And to me, this brings it up just a little bit. Everything makes a little more sense, except for how did I miss how Dorothy got in that costume, or did they explain that at all? Because otherwise,
they didn't explain it. No, they went Halloween
Okay,
H2O,
well, that was fucking
H2O with that shit,
Yeah.
or Halloween Resurrection
Yeah.
with it, and they
Yeah.
just kind of put him in it.
yeah, well, that was fucking stupid. Outside of that, really like this set of scenes.
Yeah, this set of scenes, when I'm watching it for the first time and I see my man Adam fall off the wagon, I'm like, damn, man, you fucked up. You can't let that one get away. She's fine as
Agreed.
hell. But sometimes you just got to take the edge off. I feel you, man. I like to have a drink myself. Paige in the hot tub, definitely giving off Wild Thing vibes. You brought up Wild Things earlier, but anytime I see Denise Richards in water, especially from this time frame, I think of Wild Things. The electrocution death was creative, but all the drill shit leading up to it was stupid to me. Like, why the fuck are you going to lock her in there and then try to drill her through the glass? And also, why is there a corded power drill outside by the hot tub? But, neither here nor there. I kind of felt like it was a metaphor.
Wait,
Because-
wasn't Campbell working on the hot tub earlier, like trying to get it to work? Maybe that's why the power drill is out there.
Right, he was, but there was already water in it at that point. What the fuck are you using a drill for, especially with a bit that long?
I'm just trying to distract from the fact that you were about to go into a metaphor for drilling Denise Richards, and so I wasn't sure where you're going with that.
Don't swap my shot out of bounds here. Let me get this shit off. Anyway, this is something I said. Dorothy is just such an insufferable bitch, man. I fucking hate her as a character so fucking much. When she has this whole, you can't stand it because I'm the fat one and I got a boyfriend now that's just as good as yours. Fuck you. Like, god damn, if he's so great, where is he, bitch? Anyway, this movie is rated R. I had to look it up during these scenes. I looked up to see what this movie is rated. I didn't know. It's rated R, but the dialogue is so PG-13.
Yeah.
Screw all of you. What? You can drop an F-bomb as many as you want in the rated R, as a matter of fact. And we don't get a single one in this movie. We get a screw all of you, though.
And a sleazeball.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with this dialogue. This is where Rob Zombie would have came in handy. This dumbass, when she gets the gun out of the gun cabinet, as beautiful as she is, this dummy turns the gun around twice, and twice had the barrel pointed at her face when she's trying to figure out the safety, and then drops the clip out of it. I thought we were about to get a kid from Tucker and Dale where she accidentally shoots herself in the face. Who does that? The safety doesn't require you pointing the gun backwards at your own face. So that irritated me, how stupid they made her look right then, because she's not stupid. She's beautiful and wonderful. They actually did a great job with the fake swerve. Like, the ending was a roller coaster of emotions here, because we think it's Adam when he's being all creepy, saying, hey, dance with me. Then it's not Adam, right? He shoots the sheriff. But then turn out it was Adam all along. I love that. Like, that's a very creative, like you said, Brian, we don't find out who it is until the very last scene. And when he's holding her tight and you see the blood drip on her nose, or on her cheek from his nose, that was really good. Although, if you actually think about it, Dorothy received one of those Valentine cards too. So before the last, if you're thinking quickly on your feet there, you're like, well, why would she send one of those cards to herself? That's kind of weird. And then the insistence on dance with me, Kate, dance with me. Like, okay, yeah, it's got to be him, right? And so I suspected it was him all along, but it was still well done the way they did it. So all in all, these set of scenes is probably my favorite in the movie. The opening and the closing. It made like a it was like a shit sandwich on a nice brioche bun. That's how I describe this movie. So
Damn, okay.
good bread on top and bottom, but the middle is just really
Should have went with the boar's head, Valentine.
Anybody got any more final thoughts before we jump into some fun facts?
Nope.
All right. We don't have any questions for tonight. I just got a few fun facts off IMDb. At a cost of $10 million, this is the cheapest film to ever have a Super Bowl spot. David, I don't even know how you say this guy's last name, honestly. Boreanaz shot his entire character role, Adam, in less than 2 weeks. Luke Wilson and Jeremy Sisto were considered for the role of Adam as well. If he could do it all over again, director Jamie Blanks said he would cut back on the cheap scares and broad humor in the film. Blanks points out the difficulty of juggling the red herrings, as every time he showed the killer, he had to be sure to account for other possible suspects to keep the audiences guessing. But he, in quotes, he says, and that's really, really tough when you only have your leading man for 10 days. And the last fun fact I have is Katherine Heigl and Adam J. Harrington, who play romantic interests in the movie, also share a scene in romantic comedy The Ugly Truth from 2009. Does anybody else got any fun facts?
I've got two. Jamie Blanks actually wanted Rebecca Gayheart to play one of the women, but despite their shared urban legend experience, quote, she turned me down because she didn't want to be typecast in horror movies and only be known as a scream queen. And we know she went on to do more horror movies, so I guess she needed the work. And my other one was there's actually a lot of talk about restoring the trimmed kills and kind of releasing a director's cut, but unfortunately, it's all been from fans, and Warner Brothers has not shown any interest at all in releasing that extended cut.
all mine have been said already, so I'm good.
Goddamn, Warner Brothers! I sure do wish you would. I might have this movie rated higher. Nico mentioned the budget; it was $10 million. It made $20 million. It made over $20 million. So again, made its money back and then some. So pretty successful. I'm still glad we didn't get a sequel because I don't know what the fuck you would do with a sequel to this movie.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump into our favorite part of the show, the rating, the least favorite kill, favorite kill. Just another shout out to Loot Crate. Use our code BF15 for 15% off. Who wants to go first tonight? Anyone in particular?
I'll go ahead and go.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Let's see. My least favorite kill was the maid. That was very rude. If you're gonna put her on screen dead, you might as well make it good. That's all I'm gonna say. My favorite kill was tough because I got a little bit of love for Lily's kill because it was Cupid shooting a bow and arrow. I thought that was kind of neat, but no, it's definitely Ruthie, not Ruthie. Ruthie and the head glass. I think that was really the shard glass kill was really, really creative. I've pretty much given all my thoughts on the movie, so I'll make it short and sweet here. Fun watch, short watch, although at times it feels longer than it actually is, so that's a bad thing. Neutered kills. I think if this movie had the actual gore from the kills, it'd be a little bit more fun of a watch, and just some blah characters, but again, not the worst movie, not the best movie, so kind of right there in the middle. I gave it a 6.
Okay.
I can go ahead and go.
Next. All right.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. Favorite kill for me, I really wanted to go with Ruthie, but I had to go with Lily just because, like I said earlier, we need more bow and arrow kills in movies. And so I was so delighted to see it. So I went with Lily. And I like the way she fell over the dumpster, or fell over the rail and fell all that way screaming, then the dumpster just closes on her. We don't even hear her screaming anymore. Like that. That was good. Least favorite kill was, it's kind of a toss-up between Millie and Detective Vaughn because they're both off-screen, but I guess I got to go with Millie because at least we got to see Detective Vaughn's floating head in the water. So there's that. My rating, look, I don't think it's a very good movie, but it's not... but it's not boring, and so like I was entertained by it. It's just there's a lot of flaws to me. There's a lot of things they could have done better because there's a good movie buried underneath there. It's kind of like what we said with the premise of Bones, right? It was kind of, I know Bones is a much worse movie.
Yes,
Bones is a much worse movie, but like we've talked about, you could rewrite Bones and make a damn good movie out of it.
Yes, you could.
And funny thing that came out the same year as this movie,
Right.
but it's just there's something there. It just could have been done. I blame budgetary constraints. That's what I put it all on. So I don't fault anyone. But that being said, there's some things like, why didn't he grow up and kill the boys that were bullying him and that beat the shit out of him? Instead, he killed the girls. I there's things in the movie that I wish were done differently, but it's not a complete dog shit turd. So I gave it a 5.
All right, I'll go next. My favorite kill, I was torn, Dustin, just like you, between Lily and Ruthie, but I chose Ruthie just because the face stabbed through the glass. I thought it was an awesome kill, and I liked the gore. All right, my least favorite kill, I mean, you could have easily picked Millie, but I chose Gary. I thought the iron kill was completely unnecessary in 20 seconds of filler time. I thought it was just weirdly placed, too. Like, one scene happens, you go in her apartment, kill Gary, then you're back to doing something else. I just thought it was weird. I wrote, I think this is a decent holiday themed horror film. Has a well-known, likable cast. I think the cherub mask is creepy and the scary Valentine is a good concept. However, I don't think it was executed that great. I think I've just learned about myself that I'm not the biggest whodunit fan. Scream changed the game, and I feel a lot of the films tried and failed at that formula. I feel several of the red herring attempts failed. It has some decent to really good kills in it. Overall, definitely not a horrible movie by any means, but just didn't hit the same for me like a Silent Night, Deadly Night, for example. Enjoyable and worth a watch during the Valentine's Day holiday season, and I gave it a 5.25.
Okay. I've said mostly how I feel about this movie too, so I'll kind of keep it short and sweet. My favorite kill, I said it was Ruthie. I didn't even pick a worse kill because there were so many that I was just disappointed with, and plus so many off screen. So, the metaphor that Dustin used earlier was perfect for this movie. I mean, it being like a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, you've got cheese factor, and then you're frustrated with something somebody said, and then on the other hand, you're like, damn, well, that was pretty cool and that was creative. But yeah, it's just it's right there. I actually rated this the same as Mike. So we're back on the same page for once, but I gave this one a 6 as well.
So that gives us an overall score of a 5.5625.
Hey, we're higher than IMDb. IMDb with 25,584 ratings gave it a 4.9.
Okay.
Damn.
So we're a little bit higher than that.
As far as like holiday themed movies, this is right up there, I think, for sure. I liked it. I liked it better than Silent Night, Deadly Night personally, but I'm also a big whodunit fan too. So
Right.
Oh, yeah.
This movie has a little bit of a cult following that I was not aware of either online. I did not know that.
Honestly, I didn't know of this movie until Brian told us to watch it. See, I was thinking maybe we did like the My Bloody Valentine, the remake or something. But I honestly never even heard of this movie. But I enjoyed watching this movie. It wasn't bad by any means, but I had fun.
One other thing that I did want to say, and this will date us a little bit if you go back and listen to this, but Jamie Blanks, the director, actually posted today, which is, February 11th, that Valentine's 20th anniversary live commentary, which is 20th anniversary this year. The live commentary that they're doing on Valentine's Day, February 14th, starts at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 Eastern. Obviously you'll need to, he says you will need your own copy of the movie and sync it with us. YouTube will not permit streaming of copyright content. Best one is a Scream Factory edition. See you then. So he's going to kind of have a live watch party if you're not doing anything on February 14th and want to watch a pretty cool slasher.
Any chance Katherine Heigl will be there?
I'm going to say probably not.
She'll be with me.
Oh, she'll be with us.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You just had a new celebrity crush on Twitter. Let me go find it.
Yeah, I do. Allie Raisman, the gymnast, but that's okay. They understand.
I love you, Dustin. I
Love
don't
you
even know.
too, buddy.
I don't even know how to conclude this show. This has been one hell of a ride. Um, I had to mute my mic several times. I was laughing so damn hard. This was a fun movie, Brian. I'm glad you picked it. I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed it. And Jamie Blanks, if you ever want to come on the show and talk about this in Urban Legend, we'd love to have you. Because
Definitely love to have you come on about Urban Legend.
I still really like Urban Legend, and I'm going to pick it down the road if no one else does because I really like that movie. Plus, it's got Brad Dourif and Robert Englund in it, so that's awesome. But any more final thoughts on Valentine before we get out of
I
here?
don't think so. I'm ready for next
Yeah,
week.
brother.
I'm ready for next week. Let's go.
Brian, tell them what
Let's
we're
do it.
doing next week.
Ooh,
Next
4.5
episode, what we
soon
doing?
come.
Hey, who you gonna call? That's what. That's,
Katherine
that's all you.
Heigl.
Oh no. Well,
We're doing Ghostbusters next.
Anyway, so
Oh my God.
tune in for our next episode when you will. Spoiler alert! I know that I've kind of got this reputation of being tough on movies, and I don't grade them favorably. But if you want to hear me give my highest score ever, spoiler.
Let's go.
Check out our
Alright,
next
no.
episode.
4.5 soon
Mike-
come from me. All right, let's do this. I'm just kidding.
You son of a!
Hey, it's,
Mike, I'm legitimately terrified to review this movie. I might just
long as we
turn my
never
mic off for the whole rating and just let y'all rate it.
Oh,
Just because I don't want to. I don't
It's
want to
all right,
upset
buddy.
I don't want to upset the producer and he quit on me.
I'll just cut you out. You're good.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just kidding. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners again. We really appreciate support, and y'all have a happy Valentine's Day. Before we're going to release this a little bit earlier, so y'all check this out. Then go have a great Valentine's Day. Thank you for support. Y'all have a good one. Just want to remind everybody.